Indiana Sports Beat Radio, presented by Indy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Looks over the middle, second guesses, fires, throws. Does he make the catch in the end zone? Yes! Touchdown! Oladipo to win it.
Another one!
He got
Another one!
Oladipo!
Another one! Huge hole! He's at the 30! He's gonna go! 10, 5, touchdown! Jonathan Taylor!
Worked out by Burke. Bounces into Cody. Puts it up. Scores!
Now, from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios, here's your host, Jim Coyle.
Well, hello, everybody, to welcome in live from Lucas Oil Stadium for the Big Ten Media Days 2021. The first time in 2 years we've been able to have this. And, of course, there's no better way to start this day off than with head coach Tom Allen from Indiana University. Coach, thank you for joining us. I appreciate you so much.
I tell you what, I'm fired up to be here. Awesome.
I think that you may be the star this year. As always, people are looking for different people this year, what they're going to say. But Indiana is on the rise, of course, and you have become a national, global star. Everybody loves you.
Well, we're just going to keep being who we are, and just being true to what I believe is how we've built this thing and who we are at our core, and how you treat people and how you develop this team. And our guys have kind of showed the world, what this program's all about, and the way that they play and how hard they play for each other and for the coaches. And just I think it's been a neat thing for others to see. I knew in my heart what it could become. It's pretty awesome to see it play out.
Well, it certainly is on the getting there, and no more excitement potentially ever, at least in my lifetime, for Indiana football than this year. More importantly, last year was just the weird year in COVID, no fans on the road or at home. And this year there is a ton of excitement. The fans are going to be there. How important is that to what you're doing?
Well, when you think about the whole vision and when you think about building a program built off of people, it's not just the players and coaches. That's our fan base. It's all of our boosters, our alumni, everybody that's part of our program. That not necessarily that sits in our locker room before the game. But and those fans play a huge role in that. So to me, not having them last year was tough. And you even think about this event, we didn't even have it. And so it's just it feels so different. Feels great to be here in person, talking to you without being in front of a computer screen, but just can't wait to have a packed house there at the Memorial Stadium.
And Indiana, obviously has been known as a basketball school, basketball state, but that has changed. The Colts, where we are today, have helped change that. They've got a great fan base, and being 60 miles away, that is something that I think that Indiana can play off of. But what you have built and are building, that's what does it, and wins, and the product on the field has done that. The students, how important are they to what you're doing?
They're huge. I mean, you think about a student section in any stadium, is massive, and even where we have them placed is right behind the visitors' bench in that area, and just to be able to impact the game and the crowd noise and the energy that you feed off of, and I mean, those are, that's what when they come to school, they want to be able to come to a great environment. They want to be able to have that as part of their memories of when they hear me talk about, hey, when I was in school and our teams did this, and so they attach to that. And so I just think that, once again, it's always about the people around you, and I love our students, and I just want them to know that they're a huge part of what we're building here.
Your staff also has just been elevated to such a degree. Of course, McCullough coming in, but all of the pieces that you've brought in and continue when you lose Kane Womack, you lose Kalen DeBoer, but you just continue to add the right pieces that continue to allow this thing to go forward. How hard is that? You talk about fits with players. How hard is it with fits with coaches?
Yeah, it's important, but it is challenging. It's not easy to find that right guy, and it's a lot of homework you got to do. It's a lot of I do a lot of praying. I gotta have wisdom to make great decisions, because sometimes you just gotta trust your gut. When you haven't, especially if you haven't worked with somebody and been with them side by side, day after day, in the trenches per se. So I think, I just follow the same philosophy as we do with our players, and that is, as you mentioned, guys that fit with us, and the things that I value, the things that we value in our program, that they're important to that person. That how you build a team, how you lead, how you even teach, and just the philosophical side of the game, because if you don't have a fit with that, there's always clashes behind the scenes, and that never works, So a house divided, this doesn't stand and doesn't work. So to me, getting guys that want to be here, guys that are bought in and are all in, coaches and players, and it's a beautiful thing.
Everybody's going to want to know about Michael Penix. That's the big question. But we've seen the video of him out throwing the ball around and looking good and teasing people. He seems to be just there and ready to go.
Yeah, it's a progression that we're on, and he has the schedule to follow medically, and we're on that schedule, and then he's doing everything in his power to get it to where it needs to be, and we feel great about it. I mean, like you said, you've seen him throw on those videos, and actually, I wasn't even in person for any of those videos because I'm not allowed to be out there when they have the balls. I know obviously some of those were down at the camp in Louisiana. So, but he's worked hard, and even as everything will be on a systematic, not necessarily a pitch count because it's not his shoulder or his arm, but just the protection of him, during practice, and even just hearing even some NFL teams talking about how they're handling their quarterbacks coming back from similar injuries this fall, how they handle that. So it's just about getting him ready, and he's working extremely hard. But even just physically, in the weight room, he's gotten himself bigger and stronger and gained some really good weight. And but moving really, really well. And with the whole expectation is that he'll be our starter on September 4th.
You've been building this program, and now you've gotten to the point where there are expectations, which expectations for Indiana football is not something that any of us that have been around would have thought, but that's exactly where it is. And now Indiana is one of the teams that, in my mind, they're in the top 3 of the Big Ten East in that mix. And that was a dream for Indiana for so many years. And now it's become a reality. Michigan is actually below. A team like that is below, which has been a perennial powerhouse. What's it like for you to build this and then all of a sudden be in that pantheon and have to continue doing what you're doing?
Yeah, well, there's a kind of a theme that I have for this fall. We obviously have the word chase, but within all that, I have like fall camp things that I want to emphasize, and one of them is about just being in the moment, and so I don't want our guys to lose sight of how we got here, and part of being in the moment and playing present, which is being at your best when it counts the most on game day in those critical moments, is about understanding how we were able to change these expectations and create the belief that we knew was so critical to getting our program where we wanted it to be. And we're not where we want to be yet, but we're definitely, building and moving in the right direction. So to me now it's like, okay, so this is where we are, and that's where Chase came in, because it's like, you can't just assume that because we got all these guys back and got all these good players that have done good things with us, been here for several years, and now they're a year older, that we're just automatically just going to be better in 2021. And so I didn't want us to fall into that trap, because there's the higher you go, the harder it gets, to create that increase in the level of outcome. So to me, that's why we're chasing greatness every single day. And that focus on the attention to detail has to increase. Doesn't have to be 50% better. It's got to be 1% better every single day. So that's been the focus. And to me, that's how you continue to build and grow. And you don't lose sight. You got to have that tunnel vision in some ways. You block out the white noise, we call it, all the excess things. Even today, all the questions you're going to get about the future. Well, you know what? The only one thing that matters is, what are we doing today to help reach our goals? And then what are we doing to get ready to play Iowa on September 4th? So to me, that's the focus. All the other stuff takes care of itself when you take care of the little things.
And you mentioned Iowa. Man, what a way to start the season. You got to go on the road to a team, one of the teams that is probably the most consistent in the United States as far as a program. Talking to them yesterday, listening to them, they are, what they are every year. They're the same. Going on the road, that's a great environment, though, but it's a tough test to start the season, opening up the conference play and on the road.
There's no doubt. You just think about the different venues that you play in this conference, and that's one of the ones that's a tough one, and they're all hard. But at the same time, they've done a great job. And you said that when I think of Iowa, there's 2 words that come to my mind: consistency and just toughness, and Coach Ferentz exudes that, and he's been that way. And that's why the respect for me is so high for him and what he does when he speaks in meetings and things. I listen, and so I really, really appreciate, what he's built there, and we want to be that. You want to be known as a person and a team that's consistent. That's a great compliment. And the toughness piece to me is a non-negotiable in this sport. So, but yeah, you got a chance to go there, but what a great opportunity. That's how I look at it. You get a chance, and the sense of urgency for our players in the offseason has been elevated because of it. And our guys understand, we played these guys a couple years ago, and they got after us, and so, but this is not the same Hoosier football team that's going to be playing the Iowa Hawkeyes this year.
And talk about the schedule itself. This is a fantastic schedule. Even the non-con games, you got an Idaho team coming in with a Petrino coaching. Then you have to go on the road to Western Kentucky, which is a little unusual, and the Cincinnati game. wow, who would have seen that coming? That is a potential top 10 matchup. If Indiana can win at Iowa, I would think that's going to be a top 10 matchup.
There's no doubt, and you think of what Coach Fickle's done there. Tremendous job. They're not that far away, and being able to see that program grow. I've been in that conference. I was at USF. That's where we played Cincinnati, and so in the American Conference. So, he's just done an excellent job, and they're a really good football team. Watched them play last year, live on TV, and they played Georgia, and I was impressed, and that's and pretty much that same team is the one we're going to see. They're all pretty much back. So, yeah, you got a great non-conference slate, and then you got an impressive, home and away slate for Big Ten play, which is, once again, that's why we got one of the top 10 most difficult schedules in the country.
What is going to be success to you for this season?
Yeah, playing our best football. And to me, I'm not going to get a number on things. That's not how I operate, but I tell you what, to me, I'm excited about this team. We got a maturity about us. We got some, a lot of guys that have put in a lot of hard work and played a lot of football at this level. And I have high expectations for this team. How high it's going to go, that's up to them. I mean, we got every single week is going to be a tremendous challenge. And so playing our best football every single week and improving each week and making sure we're playing our very, very best at the finish. That's the key.
How's this ride been from you? 5 years ago, people outside of college football, if you said Tom Allen, like who? And now you're almost a household name. It's a rocket ride. And you're I've been around you enough that you're so grounded, but how's it still? It doesn't matter who you are. How's it been for you?
Yeah, it's crazy, but it's a blessing. It is. But I'm telling you, you have a vision for what you believe you can do at a place. And we're living out that vision. It's we're not completed for sure, but I believed we could do these things at Indiana. I did. And when I got here, I haven't really stopped talking about it in a certain way. May have sounded a little different, but the core values haven't changed. And that's where I don't want to be. I want somebody to say, hey, he's the same guy back when he was a 1A high school coach, in 1992, Temple Heights, in Tampa, Florida. And then that's because it's about how you treat people. And it is about being grounded. And it is about understanding what's important to you. And when you have that foundation, when things happen, good or bad, it won't rock you. It's just going to allow you to grow stronger. And to me, it's just about being who you are, being true to that. And but I'm excited for our players. You think about the guys we brought in here today. Every one of those guys came to Indiana before we broke through. And so for them to be able to be here and be a part of the turnaround and be able to feel it and see it and experience it and now be a part of this for 2021, man, that's awesome.
The recruiting continues to elevate at a level that Indiana has never seen as well. Getting out that the coaches are a big part of that, but you guys have increased your footprint to a level that has never been seen before as well. Yeah. The Florida guys continue to coming. You reach down into Texas now and continue going to places where football players come from outside of your own state. Okay. That has been something Indiana could never do before.
Yeah. Well, and when you talk to those players, they're talking about the culture. Their parents are talking about, hey, we watched this video. We saw the way your team responded to you. We saw the interaction. You can tell that this is not just some staged thing for television. This is real, and so we could feel it, through the television, or on the video wherever they watched it, even on their phones. And so I just think that's been an awesome thing. And then they have a chance now in this last June to come and see it. And I want guys who want to be here. I don't get all bent out of shape. The guys that don't, you're not going to convince everybody to come be a part. But I want coaches and I want players that believe and want to be here, because I'm telling you, that's how we built this thing. With guys that want to be, I don't care where you're from, and we're going to do a great job recruiting Indiana. And if they don't want to come here, we're going to go find guys that want to, and we're going to develop those guys. We're going to go win the Big Ten.
The video, the thing that sticks out in my mind was last year. I can't even remember what game it was. The video where everybody was jumping on your back. Wisconsin. I remember posting Wisconsin. I remember posting that, and it was real and organic. And I think that's what catapulted Nashville to a lot of people. How long into the future can you sustain that, though? I mean,
yeah, I guess I don't even think about that. To me, it's just about, someone asked me, hey, what about a certain game? I said, hey, I know them in the words for that moment. Okay, right now, all I know is you be true to who you are, and you build, it the way that is the right way, and you treat people the right way, and you don't compromise your core values. And to me, you stay focused on that. And that's where Earmuffs and Blinders is not just it wasn't just a fatty thing. That is, I believe that. and it's for my life, and it's for how we lead, and it's for how we coach this team. And so to me, that has to be at the forefront. And so to me, that you don't ever, it's like your schedule. You don't worry about, hey, you just worry about them one. You only got to play them one at a time. You put all your energy, everything you do is into that one game. And you don't go through and go, oh, we got this one. I don't like doing that. I think that's the wrong way to handle it. And that's the same way about life. You got to be in the moment.
Coming up now, what are you looking forward most as the season is we're a week away from fall camp? Yeah. Is it a week from Saturday it starts?
It's August 5th is our first practice.
The first day, what is the biggest thing for you on the first day?
Well, set the tone. Our guys had a chance to finish up. They'll finish up our summer workouts next Thursday. They'll go home for a few days. And then, to me, the focus is set the tone, get that mindset right. To me, vision, mindset, grit. Those things just really embody what we're all about. So when you think about, I think about mindset, and I just want to make sure our minds are right. We set the tone for what we want to accomplish in fall camp. In that segment, that's all we're focused on.
Coach, I can't thank you enough for setting the tone here today. We appreciate you more than anything. Best of luck. We'll be there to cover you. Absolutely. Cannot thank you for joining us. Coach Tom Allen from Indiana joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat, and we'll be back with Marcelino Ball after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're put those on, Marcelino. Let's see. You can't hear our producer, but we're in the break right now. We probably got about, John, what do we got, 2 minutes in the break?
A little over 2 minutes, yep.
Yeah, we'll be back in 2 minutes.
Oh, I'm in there.
How you going, man? Oh, yeah, Look at these. Oh, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, hell, I wish I could get a shot of those. Those Adidas?
Nah, Steve McQueen, Alexander McQueen.
They're what?
Alexander McQueen.
I'm out. I'm telling you, I'm out. I don't know.
Yeah.
Look at those things, man. Those are sharp.
Appreciate it, Doc.
That's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
You ready?
I'm ready, man. I'm all ready.
It's going to be a big one, man. I can't wait. You like doing these things?
Yeah, I actually do. It's just, it's practice. I like to be in front of the camera. So the more I practice, the more it's
future, man.
Nature, really.
Future job.
Yeah.
How about what we got?
About minute 15.
The breaks usually fly. Today they're not.
I know it's because you're sitting here waiting.
Oh yeah, I'm usually running around trying to get stuff done.
Yeah, like yesterday was crazy.
You guys covered a few of the games, right?
I cover all of them,
right?
I'm in Bloomington.
So I don't have cable. I just use Netflix and Hulu and stuff. So throughout the season, I had to just go on YouTube and just listen to you guys on there.
Oh, yeah, well, actually, YouTube has become, it's crazy.
Yeah,
sure. People love it on YouTube. Yeah. But it's a radio show is what it is ultimately, but then podcasts and the YouTube and all that stuff too. But it's daily, Monday through Friday. I got it.
All right, Jim, 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and bring us back in.
My, ACL.
With a family, meeting for lunch, hanging with friends, or on the golf course, Sam's Restaurants has multiple locations and something for everyone. Sam's Restaurant in Fishers has homemade coffee cakes and much more. Sam's Place in Broad Ripple has wings, tender steaks, and seafood. Sam's Ale House in Carmel and on 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink. This segment is brought to you by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium for the Big Ten Media Days. It is great to be here and joined by Marcelino McCray Ball, right?
McCurry.
Get that out. McCurry?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there you go. McCurry Ball. I had never said that before. I never noticed that. Is that a recent change?
Well, yeah, I guess the recent change as far as putting it on my jersey, 2019 year. It's my mom's last name, and Ball's my dad's last name, and I just.
Speaking of names on jerseys, great thing to bring up. I know football and basketball is a big difference, but getting the names back on their jerseys, the year you didn't have them, it was for us. It was hell. I'll tell you, you got 9s out there, 2 9s. I'm like, who? What? Penix is playing defense? What's going on, man?
Yeah. It was a hectic year, but I mean, the message behind it was just Coach Allen just wanted to emphasize playing more so for Indiana. Yeah, obviously, we play for the people behind, at home and everything like that for our last name and stuff like that. But he just wanted to, put that emphasis on you're here, you're playing for Indiana as a collective. 11 on defense, 11 on offense, 11 on special teams.
Speaking of it, man, the season's upon us, and Indiana is being talked about as one of the top 3 teams in the Big Ten East, one of the toughest divisions in all of college football. Not something I think that anybody that is a senior or on this team right now really could have imagined, I think, 4 years ago, but it is here and it is real. And this season, Indiana is expected to compete with Ohio State and Penn State and those types of teams. Yeah. That's got to be an exhilarating thing for you because you're one of the leaders of getting Indiana to this point.
Yeah, well, when you speak on the seniors and older players like myself that's been here for long, or Ty Fryer, Mike, that's what we expected. That's why we came here. We knew where we were when we came in as freshmen or when we was in high school and where Indiana was on the ranking, on the totem pole and stuff like that. But, we came here to make that change and we expected to be where we are today as far as, top 3 in the East. So, and going against Ohio State's, the Michigan State's and all the other great teams on the Big Ten East. But yeah, man, like that's what we trained for. That's what we work hard for. And we're here. And now we just have to keep that edge for sure.
It's been a grind. You talk about football. There's probably no sport that is more of a grind through 4 or 5 years, how long you're in at a place. But talk all the things you've gone through to get to this point and where you are now and this season that lays ahead of you guys. There's never been more of an opportunity for Indiana than there is this upcoming season.
Oh, for sure, man. It's right in front of us. Coming off that 2020 year. I'll start with the 2019 year. Coming off that 19 year, we ended off, on a sad note, losing to the Tennessee team in the Tax Slayer Bowl. Then 2020, it was ups and downs, obviously, for everyone across the country. But we made it happen. We had one little L to one loss to Ohio State, taking us away from the opportunity to play in the Big Ten championship. And then we also took another L to Ole Miss. However, we made that transition that we knew we could compete and win. We used to be in that stuck just competing and being okay with losing at a certain point, years before. But now we're competing and winning. We're competing and giving our all every time. So, that's what we are now. And now that we came off that year, we expect to just do more and just do exactly what we've been doing, working hard, being consistent, having vigorous training, and just working at it. Yeah.
Name, image, likeness. New to college sports.
Yeah.
Football, there's so many guys on the team. It's probably a little harder, but is that anything that you've been able to look at or expand on?
No, I haven't really expanded on it, to be honest with you.
See a poster of Marcelino somewhere, a billboard? You got a billboard coming into town?
Nah, man, I haven't really been focused on it. I haven't really given much thought. For 2 reasons, I'm just focused on the season for sure. And I just feel like if things will come, it'll come. I'm not trying to chase it for sure because I don't want to get, sidetracked with NIL, thinking about all this. So, man, I'm worried about grinding, just being back with my team, man. I lost last year. Everything guys did last year, I was a part of it, but I wasn't a part of it. So just having that in the back of my head every day, NIL, it's not really my focus. My focus is to get back on that field.
Well, 3 other letters, ACL. Let's talk about those 3 letters.
Yeah.
That's probably the most common injury in all of football. But coming back from that and having to deal with that, how mentally, physically, how hard has that been on you? That's a grind itself.
So I'll put it from this perspective, man. So I tore mine on a Monday. Saquon Barkley tore his on a Sunday. And I think Odell tore his a few months later. I it wasn't difficult from that perspective because in my mind, I'm like, I'm in college. I have no money. These guys are millionaires. So if they're getting up and grinding every day, I have no choice. And what also made it better, I had two other teammates that we had the surgery on the same day on October 25th. Sam Dugstrip and Khalil Benson. They're both freshmen. And just having that surgery, I tore mine first, and then Khalil came and tore his, and then Sam tore his for a third time. He's a freshman. And so having our surgery the same day and just being on that same level playing field, regardless if I was a 6-year senior, freshman All-America, all these accolades next to these two freshmen, we're on the same playing field. We have to learn how to grind and get our legs under us. And so that it made it easy. It was hard nights for sure, hard days for sure, but it still made it easy to have guys on the same, like with me along the way, and also having guys where we all aspire to be as college athletes. I don't help anyone tear their ACL, but for Saquon and all the other guys like Nick, a lot of guys tore their ACL in the NFL, but for those guys that tear it and just to see them and how they attacked it, it made me attack mine the same way, maybe even more, to grind and also then watch the guys go through the season and do what they did, and they was balling. I'll tell you, like maybe week 3 or week 4, I was maybe 3 months out. I was already ready. I was looking up, like literally, can I come back from an ACL month 4? I swear, I was literally in bed. I was listening. I couldn't watch the game. I had to listen to it play for play. And Taiwan Mullen just got another pick, and we was getting picks left and right. I was like, man, I can get a pick out there. So I wanted to get out there and play. And I was like on month 3 or 4, and I was already trying to figure out, can I play like cover 4? Can I play cover 3? Like I probably can't do man to man or anything, but I could be a little run stopper for sure. I can with one little leg, but I mean that showed you just like, man, I was ready to go out there. And so now I am on I'll be on month 9 on the 25th. I'm just I'm pretty much back. I'm 99%. I'm ready to be back with my team and to be able to be utilized like I used to be. So
Indiana defense, it's easy to see why you're a captain on this team and a leader. How important is that to you? How important do you take that role addressing? Because each year you got another group of guys that are coming in that have to be indoctrinated into to the culture, to what's going on, to the picture, what you guys are trying to get to. Yeah. That's how important you take that leadership role.
Man, it's definitely important. It took me a minute to understand the reality of how important being a captain is, how important being a team leader itself, because you don't have to be a captain to be a leader. There's freshmen that are technically leaders, that can be leaders, that just know the way, know the route, and can pull somebody along. So in my position, man, I take it with a lot of pride for sure, to bring guys on, bringing freshmen along. I mean, you can ask around, man. Like I'm always around freshmen. I'm all around all types of classes and just making sure they doing what they're supposed to do. And I'm not like aggressive or anything like that. I'm head forward, man. Whatever time Coach Allen say, I'm repeating it. You know what I'm saying? So
what is it about Coach Allen? I mean, I know, but and there's so many people home, and you can see it, and I think you can see it so much that you can actually feel it. But if you're around him, you can definitely feel it. But you can almost feel him through the TV. Yeah. It's that penetrating. It really is,
man. What you see through the TV? I'm sorry.
No, it's
what you see through the TV, man. That's what it is, man. That's what it's every day. It's face to face from our perspective, man. He real. He got the energy, and he sat down at everyone's everyone's living room when they were in high school making that transition to college. And what he told us then, it was no lie, it was no facade, nothing fake about it. It was authentic. It was what he said he was going to do then and what he was about then, recruiting us to Indiana University when we got here is what he said.
What's your vision of success for this season?
Man, Big Ten champs, man. No line, no facade. It's Big Ten champs.
You get Ohio State at home. You got a lot of before you get there. You got to open the season at Iowa. Yeah. That's Coach Allen about that. That's a tough way to open any season on the road. Period. But a conference game at Iowa, a team that is always as consistent as anybody. 80,000 people are going to be there. Yeah. It's a tough way to open the season, but it's what you got to do. How important and preparation for that game?
Oh yeah, man. We got to prepare hard. I mean, like I said, like I in the spring I wasn't doing spring ball, so all I was doing just trying to just watch film, just study, understand things, understanding the defense that we had. Like, it's the same defense, but we changed a few things up. But as well as, just get a hint at, Iowa from the previous year and just kind of see, how they're looking, man. They look good, man. We got to be prepared. And, for us to already have been, watching film, just trying to get lay the foundation of how we're gonna plan against Iowa, man. And it's gonna be a great game because they're a great team for sure. And we're at Iowa, man. That stadium is nice, man.
And the schedule itself is phenomenal. I was talking to Coach Allen. You've got a sense. Well, before you come back from Iowa, and you have an Idaho team that's coached by Petrino, which we all know Petrinos have been in the football for so long.
Right.
Then you have Cincinnati. When that game was scheduled, I promise you, no one knew that this was going to a potential top 10 matchup, and that's what this is. And the schedule itself is phenomenal. Like I said, then we haven't even gotten to the rest of the Big Ten East. Ohio State's down the road and all that. You have to travel to Michigan and Penn State, play those games with fans this year. Last year, you didn't have the fans out there. You've got to go to Michigan, like I said, with 110,000 people. It's going to be a very difficult environment. All those environments are very difficult. How do you all deal with that and trying to get where you're trying to get to?
Earmuffs and blinders.
Is it that simple, really?
Earmuffs and blinders, man.
Is it really? I mean,
man, if you got to go, if you want to walk right over there, you got to go to the bathroom right now. And you got to go to the bathroom real bad. You focus on that bathroom,
you
right?
Just use
and
the
somebody
best.
somebody come to you. Hey, earmuffs and blinders, ain't it? You gotta go. So that's it.
That is the best, absolute best analogy I could have thought of, because you're right. There's nobody stopping me, especially when you get to my age. I got news for you.
For sure.
What's next for you after this? I know your goal is the NFL.
Yeah, I mean that's everyone's goal for sure. Being a college athlete, but I mean if you would have asked me that when I was a freshman, sophomore, I probably would have been, NFL. But, as I've been here for a while and I'm just soaking it in, man. Like, I'm here at Big Ten Media Day, man. This is cool. So, man, my days at IU, there's no coming back to IU. NCAA is not granting me a 7th year. So, coming to that realization is like, man, it's my 6th year, man. Regardless of what happens over with, I'm just making the days count for sure. The friendships, the relationships, all that. I'm soaking it all in, taking photos, videos, all that. And what happens after? I don't know what happened after. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. You may plan for tomorrow. I may plan for tomorrow. We may plan for 6 months from now. But still, when tomorrow comes, something may come up, and change that whole direction where you want to go. So knowing that, based on, my, just living life, man, I'm just making the days count. I'm on what I don't even know what today is. Friday. I'm on Friday at 9:30. I'm on Friday at 9:30 right now with you.
When you first came to Indiana and now, could you imagine where this program has? I mean,
man. Yeah, I'm telling you, bro. I'm getting excited, but man, when I was training, okay, you asked me about my personal question, right? When I was training to come to Indiana and I was signed and everything, vividly, I remember running the track. My dad had me running 400s, 300s, all that, training vigorously. I was picturing, at the time, it was Jabril Peppers. But in the grand scheme of things, it was Ohio State, it was the Michigan, it was the Michigan State, it was the Penn State. And I would act like, when I'm running the 400s, I was acting like I was hawking down Jabril Peppers or JT Baird and all these guys. In the grand scheme of things, I was chasing down those people, but I'm chasing down those teams as well. And so it took 5 years to finally break down barriers and do those, complete those missions, but it's still there. Like that's still there. And more so, although like we're all a team, we're a collective and everything like that, for me to not physically be on the team and be a part of those wins last year or those close games last year, it's like I still ain't, a part of with Indiana football. I didn't, beat Penn State and all these things.
What do you hope that you showed the teammates last year when you couldn't play? I hope
to show them solid action. Those 2 words, solid action. I hope to show them solid action. I'm solid and I'm about that action.
Indiana going undefeated this year?
For sure.
Put the pressure on you, man. Marcelino Ball joining us. I cannot thank you enough, man. Best of luck this year. I hope it does come true for you. Undefeated season, that would be great. A Big Ten championship. This is where the season starts in the Big Ten, and this is where it ends for the Big Ten championship. Yeah. 2 teams will play here for that, and the road goes through Columbus for Indiana, without question. Are you looking forward to that game? Actually, no, you have them at home or other. But that game is got. I know Coach Allen does not go forward. You can't look ahead, and I understand that. But that's some speak. There's no way that's not in there, that you're not thinking about that. You're not thinking, because that's a mark.
I got to go back just to not have been playing last year. I just got to go back to that because I'm literally looking at every game, Iowa, Idaho, Cincinnati, so on and so forth. I ain't looking at Ohio State, and I got to go past all these other teams first. That's hustling backwards. I got to go boom, boom, boom. So I'm looking at it straightforward. I'm not looking and I'm not like, overthinking or underthinking Ohio State and their team and everything like that. I'm just 2 + 2 is 4. 4 + 4 is 8. I'm going in order. I'm going in order, man.
It's amazing. I mean, it's unflappable. It is really amazing because it is the same thing. It doesn't matter who you talk to, Coach Allen, players, it doesn't matter. It's the same mantra, and it really is. All the time in sports, you hear the things, they talk this and this and that. Right. If you're around this program, you can see, and especially when you talk to the players like yourself, it is the same. It is real. I mean, it is game for game. It is earmuffs and blinders. Yeah. That stuff is really real. And real. And I know that people hear that and you're like, yeah. But it is real. But that's not an easy thing to do. And that's probably the hardest thing for people to do in life. I mean, just in general life and work, whatever, it doesn't matter. To not put something ahead of you before you get to the next step. But that is the key to success for what you guys are trying to do.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's the keys. You said it. I ain't got to repeat nothing. You said it.
Smartest man I've talked to today, man.
I appreciate it.
Marcelino Ball joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat. Cannot wait for the season to get started. Looking forward to it. Marcelino, best of luck, man. We will be there to cover it all for you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Marcelino Ball will be back with Indiana Sports Beat right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're looking for a relaxing night with a family,
'Cause I don't know where he is.
Who are you looking for, Jim?
Well, the hell with
Who are
him.
you looking for, Jim?
Jeff Brom.
Oh, okay.
Huh? That was great. He's awesome.
Is that Kevin? Have him scoot over.
Yeah, you guys scoot in. See the. Oh, there we are. Well, no, just bring that chair over in case Brom shows up. The empty chair of Jeff Brom right there. It was very good. Kevin's in purple.
Can you hear me?
He can't tell him he can't hear me.
All right.
He can hear you. You can't hear him.
Who's he?
John.
Producer. John, the producer.
John.
John, the producer. Like John the Baptist?
Exactly, yeah.
Hey, quick question before I bring us back in, Jim. Do you want Alec in the 10 o'clock hour at all, or does he know he's not going on?
I talked to him earlier, and I told him I didn't think I was going to have time, but if Brahman's going to show up, I could have put him on now.
Well, he's probably on Toe and Tracy right now. But
what time is Tom coming on for you?
Huh?
What time is Tom coming
He's already been on.
He would stop on.
Top on spot, baby.
All right, I'm bringing this on. We got 20 seconds.
LX front-wheel drive lease for just $180 a month, or a new 2021 Honda Accord LX front-wheel drive lease for just $270 a month. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
I love it.
Give us just a moment, guys.
I'm vaccinated, baby. I carry mine in I carry my card in my wallet. Yes. As soon as they gave it to me, I'm like, going right in my wallet, man.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis. Big Ten Media Days for football 2021. Back live in person. It is so awesome to be here. And this has been the greatest setup. Kevin Brockway sitting in with me now. Kevin, this has been the funnest media days of any media, not just football, any I've ever been to because of the setup. It's akin to the Super Bowl, how they do that. Everything is on one platform here on the field as opposed to being in some hotel in Chicago and several different ballrooms. And this is, I've not heard anybody, everyone's been raving about it. I would be shocked if they don't come back to this from now on.
Yeah, no, and it's kind of like where you start and where you finish, right? Big
Exactly.
Ten championship. It's kind of funny. I was fiddling around here with this. I feel like a coach fiddling around here with this headset, by the way. But no, it's been a lot of fun. I mean, it's been it was an interesting first day, I thought. But Kevin Warren didn't really say much.
Has he ever?
I mean, with the whole COVID,
has he yet to say anything? I mean,
know.
I hate to be that way,
Yeah.
but that's the one thing. It's
do you have a COVID policy? Do you not have a COVID policy? Yada yada, the whole 9 yards. And also, they asked about conference expansion. He didn't really have an answer for that. So, with Texas and Oklahoma, but that's going to be fascinating. I mean, does the Big Ten go to 16? What do you do here?
Well, is the Big Ten in trouble of you lose Texas and Oklahoma to the SEC? Man, there's not much coming back from that. That will definitely propel the SEC to another level.
Well, the Big 12, I mean, I could see it like the Southwest Conference in the 90s, right, where the Big 12 just dissolves. And if that's the case, do you grab a school like West Virginia, that's in the Big Ten footprint? You get the basketball from them. You get a little bit of football, too. You get a natural rivalry with Penn State, with Maryland, schools like that. You have another border. And then who else do you pick up? You pick up Iowa State.
That would now see that
Iowa.
That would be a great get because they're actually a good program. West Virginia's a good program.
Yeah.
But I don't like the fact West Virginia does not belong in the Big 12. I don't know that they belong in the Big 10. They're on the East Coast, and
Rutgers is on the East Coast.
Oh, they don't belong in the Big 10. I've said that long ago.
Yeah.
But they are, and it is what it is. It's not going to change. It's no longer about regions and where college sports are going. We don't even know how that's going to wound up with the playoffs, the NCAA, and all that. But to me, though, if Texas and Oklahoma join the SEC, that's almost why do you even have conferences anymore?
Yeah,
you're getting so big, and with so many big schools in there, the ACC now you talk about somebody getting left behind. The ACC on the football side of things is definitely going to be a stepchild.
Yeah. But they do have Clemson. That's the thing.
Yeah, but when you're talking about these 16-team leagues, you can't rely on one team to carry a conference.
Yeah. And if Miami and FSU ever come back, then maybe you would have a few more teams to go with that. But yeah, definitely they're going to want to play the players are going to want to play in the glory conferences for sure. I mean, NIL also changes things. I did a big story on NIL yesterday. It doesn't seem like many of these Big Ten players are getting really big deals. Like I talked to Brandon Joseph, and he said, I have a bed sheet thing or whatever, but it's not like the 7-figure deal that the Alabama quarterback got. And it seems like that the players are really hesitant. They don't really know how to go about it yet.
I asked Marcelino just about that. Marcelino Ball was just with us, and I asked him, he's like, he's not thinking about NIL. Yeah. Thinking about his senior season and all that. But in football, it's a little harder. You got so many different guys. You don't have the exposure unless you're a superstar on a team like Michael Penix for Indiana or one of these other teams. You don't have the exposure, the FaceTime and all that. And that's key. Like a basketball player, all they have is FaceTime from television and all that.
And James Franklin, when I asked him yesterday, he brought up the D word, distraction. Like, does it become a distraction during the season? Something we've talked about, locker room jealousy, so forth. That's another interesting aspect to it. What happens in October if a star emerges, gets a big NIL deal, and then, the blockers are left with nothing in crumbs and they're all ticked off. That's going
to I can't remember who it was. Someone told me that there was a quarterback who got a deal just for his linemen to eat all they want at some restaurant, which is cool, but they get all they want to eat anyway. Their schools are shoveling food to these kids. So, but it's probably at a place like where they can go get wings or something.
Yogi's,
something
that,
good where they can get some good food, not that healthy stuff.
Exactly, where they can put on a little bit of poundage there.
Big Ten Media Days, the first one we've had live for 2 years. We were in Chicago the last time, and it sucked, to be honest with you, not having that. We were talking to Jeff Kegg in the break. I use football media representative and talked about how planning to be able to do things. We're going to do things live in the upcoming season. We're going to get to talk to the players and the coaches like we have today, which has it sounds crazy that I'm talking about that, but that has not been the case for 2 years.
Yeah, and he said 91% of the team is vaccinated, so I think they're in really good shape from that standpoint, and most of the reporters are vaccinated, so I think it's going to be a safe, healthy process, even with COVID making a little bit of comeback, unfortunately, with this Delta variant. But as long as everyone's vaccinated, I think we're all ready to go, ready to get rolling here. And I think that'll be good. The face-to-face interaction is always good. You always get better stories, more out of the players from face-to-face than this kind of Zoom environment that we've been working under these last year and a half. So I'm excited about it.
Absolutely. Talk about I need to plug my computer and I forgot to do that. But talk about the season. Indiana starting at Iowa. Man, you want to talk about kicking your season off. That's a hell of a way to do it. Iowa is the most consistent program and probably one of the most top 5 consistent programs in college football.
Yeah, no question. And, you go there and listen, Iowa is a program. Taylor Lindenbaum, the great center. They're always going to have a big-time offensive line. Spencer Pedras, he starts his second season as a quarterback there, starting quarterback there. They've got some good running backs, with Goodson. They're going to be tough. I mean, that's going to be, they were a top 15 team also, and they were playing very good football at the end of last season. Always well coached under Kirk Ferentz. So I think that's going to be a tremendous matchup to open the season. And again, something that you've brought up and something that I was asking around yesterday too is the whole fan aspect of it, having the fans back. James Franklin brought up that 107,000 people. He told me yesterday, he said the best defensive linemen go to Penn State in part because of the fact of, he said it's the ability, but also the cadence, the fact that, the opposing quarterbacks, have issues with the fans, and that helps them, that helps their pass rush tremendously, the crowd.
And that tells you a lot right there, because that's like an 11th man or a 12th man. It is a 12th man. Yeah. It makes it, Michigan is a great example. They're expected to be a mediocre team, let's say.
Yeah.
But when you add 110,000 fans, they're no longer mediocre. Yep. That gives them an extra leg up, and it makes it very difficult on you, your offense and all of that. It makes them elevated. And one of the reasons Indiana has not beaten them at Michigan since 1967, although I think they get that done this year.
Yeah, 100,000, the big house, 100,000. I mean, that's going to be a tremendously tough matchup up there in early November for sure. Having to go up there, having to go to Penn State, 107,000. That's going to be those are going to be two really tough road, and then going to Kinnick, which is 70,000. I mean, that's not going to be no picnic either up in Iowa. So you've got some tough road trips. But the good news is ticket sales for Indiana are up about 27% was the last I heard. So hopefully the home field will work for Indiana in the other direction when they host Cincinnati, when they host Ohio State. That they're going to have a lot of fans in that stadium, in Memorial Stadium, and it'll be loud and packed. And the enclosed stadium with full fans in there, you can't underestimate that either for the Hoosiers. That might create a really crazy atmosphere, particularly if they get off to a good start to the season.
I didn't bring up to our previous guest, Marcelino and Coach Allen, about yesterday, Joe Strickland chose Purdue over Indiana and Stanford. A little surprising to me. I did not think it was going to go that way. I really didn't because Indiana's on a different trajectory than Purdue, and the in-state push. I really thought that was going to bring him in, but it didn't. And he chose Purdue, and which that's fine for him, whatever works for him. But a little bit of a surprise to me.
Yeah,
big surprise, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a surprise. In-state kids, you want to get all of them. Sometimes it's not going to work out, and there are so many different factors. And I think I brought this up earlier in the week too. He feels like he gets immediate playing time there, or quicker than you would at a school like Indiana that's now established with pretty good defensive line rotation, particularly with even some of the transfers that they brought in Handy and Ryder Anderson. You've got guys that can really get to the quarterback, and I think Ryder Anderson will be gone after next season, but Handy will be sticking around for a while. So I think you evaluate a little bit of everything in that situation, and who knows, there could have been some personal connections too with Purdue that you don't know about.
Absolutely. Jeff Brom, of course, we were expecting him to be here with us. Haven't seen him yet, though, this morning. He speaks today at 12:15 on the main podium. Tom Allen's at 11:45 for those of you that are keeping score at home. But this is, to me, a bigger day. Yesterday you had Jim Harbaugh here, and he had his crowd, but it was different than it was 2 years ago. He seems to have lost his poking stick, I guess you'd say. He didn't have a lot to say because what can he say?
Yeah,
I mean, he was lucky to come back. If it had not been Michigan, he probably wouldn't have been back.
Yeah.
But he really seemed to be
tempered down.
Yeah.
Well, he got the Ohio State question, and he had a pretty good soundbite, right? Which is, we're going to do it or we're going to die trying.
It was him hauled around though before he got to it.
Yeah,
you could tell he was searching for the words to answer that question.
And then he told the story about the daughter climbing the mountaintop, and she has this gene, and I have this gene too, and the whole 9 yards. But the thing I asked Harbaugh in the breakouts a little bit about how Indiana's emergence has kind of changed the division, and his response was, "Well, we've always had respect for Indiana." He said every time we've played them the last 5 or 6 years, and it's true, probably going back to Kevin Wilson, that they've always played these close games, and then finally breaking through and really beating them last year in a rout, right? 38-21. I mean, that game was never in doubt last year.
They should have beat them the two previous home games both. That was the funny thing. But
so I think that's the thing, the Indiana emergence, how that impacts Michigan and Penn State going forward, or do those two blue bloods bounce back that year? I think that's going to be a fascinating story to see. And then can anyone topple Ohio State, of course?
That's the thing. Everything goes to Ohio State for the entire conference. Doesn't matter what division or side you're on. Why does the Big Ten even have divisions? They don't even matter.
Yeah, no. Well, I mean, I guess maybe to create the championship game or so forth, but I guess you could do that through 1-2, right? Throughout the overall conference. But it's it's set up the way it's set up. The geography is set up the way it's set up, and for a program like Indiana, it's a tough road to climb. But if you can climb it, I think you set yourself in a really good position for the national championship.
Absolutely. I see the Purdue guys coming on the field now. But hopefully we can get Coach Brom over here in a little bit. He was the benefactor of Joe Strickland yesterday. That's got to be a good thing for those guys, because Indiana has really – you think about when Tom Allen became head coach and the recruiting in the state right at the time that Jeff Brom came into Purdue, they got Rondale Moore and they had but they just never popped. Yep. And meanwhile, Indiana was just there, and then, boy, they just kept rising. And now Indiana is kind of past Purdue. But, again, that's why yesterday was a big surprise to me.
Yeah, and, Purdue is trying to search. I mean, with the defensive we know Jeff Brom is a great offensive mind, but what's held them back the last 2 years? The defense and special teams, too. They've had some brutal special teams play. I mean, Rutgers, they gave up a kickoff for a touchdown in that loss. A bunch of missed field goals in that Minnesota game. Otherwise, they would have won. So those two areas of the ball have really hurt Purdue really the last 2 years.
And it's funny. I always bring this up. How often is it when you see a team that has a head coach that is a great offensive mind that their defense lacks so much?
Yeah.
You see Kevin Wilson when he was in Indiana. They're losing games 47-45 or whatever. It happens so frequently. You've got to be solid on both sides of the ball. I think that gives Indiana it's part of what has grown Indiana because Tom Allen's a defensive coach. Yep. He didn't really his offense was not his gig. But you got to have a great offense, which they've developed. But I think it just seems like when you're teams that are head coaches are offensive, just big offensive minds, they don't care as much about the defense.
Yeah, you want that perfect balance, right? Where you have offense. I still think college football is a scoring game, but it's really good to get those stops because I've seen it the other direction. I mean, I've covered Florida where Ron Zook and Will Muschamp, two defensive-minded coaches, used to try to win games like NFL games, like 24-17. And in college football, the margin for error is so slim. One special teams mistake. Like, Will Muschamp got fired, basically, because his punter got a punt block. They had that game against South Carolina 1. Punter gets a punt block. They go into overtime. They lose the game. So when you're trying to win a game 24-17 in college, I mean, it's so hard. You can't coach it like an NFL game. You gotta get the points, but, it's also nice to get stops. And I think Indiana's got a pretty good balance right now because if you look at both sides of the football, you had two guys for the Maxwell Award, right? Freifogel and Penix. Two guys for the Bednarik Award in Micah McFadden and Taiwan Mullen. So you've got star power on both sides of the football. It's not just one side.
Indiana and Ohio State, the only teams with multiple players named on whichever list it was.
Yeah, Maxwell, yeah.
So, yeah, that's –
But to have multiple guys on the Bednarik, too, shows you that Indiana's a complete team. They've got star power, and they've got impact players both on offense and defense, and I think that bodes really well.
Indiana is pretty balanced offensively and defensively. And that's what makes them good. That's what makes them. That's why we're able to talk about them in the level with Penn State and Ohio State, because to play those kind of teams, you have to be balanced.
Yeah. Now here's what I think. Here's another fascinating storyline too. Kane Womack, his first year as defensive coordinator, took some lumps. Second year took a huge jump. I thought last year Nick Sheridan, as offensive coordinator, took some lumps here and there. Didn't have the greatest game plan against Ole Miss, for example. Does he take a jump
break after this?
And then what happens when you're breaking in a new defensive coordinator in Charlton Warren? Those are the things that are that kind of fascinate me. It's like you see how that goes because I mean, Kalen DeBoer was certainly this great offensive coach in year one. He went to Fresno State the first year I covered the beat in 2019. You wondered how they were going to compensate for that. Well, Kane Womack and the defense really stepped up last year, and that really helped as Nick Sheridan went through his kind of growing pains in year one as a coordinator.
Hey, we're coming to you live from Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days. We're back with more on Indiana Sports Beat Radio right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're
family, meeting for lunch, hanging with friends, or on the golf course, Sam's Restaurants has multiple locations and something for everyone. Sam's Restaurant in Fishers has homemade coffee cakes and much more. Sam's Place in Broad Ripple has wings, tender steaks, and seafood. Sam's Ale House in Carmel and on 86th Street in Indy have a long list of craft beers and all of the right foods to go with. Plan a day on the links at Eagle Point in Bloomington, then stay for dinner at Sam's Clubhouse. Sam's Restaurants, professionals in the art of food and drink.
All right, guys. Once again, we are waiting on Jim to come back with either himself or Jeff Brom or whoever he's out looking for. So just sit tight and we will wait it out.
All right.
You ready?
Did I make it? Or did you have to pause it?
I had to pause, but it's fine.
This segment is brought to you by Remax Advanced Realty, Indie Home Pros team by Cheryl Sizemore. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back. We're coming to you live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days for Football 2021. Kevin Brockway joining me right now. Jim Coyle with you. Down on the field, no less. It has been fun, this event. I've not talked to anyone who is not in love with this. Coaches, players, they all like it. Ran back there to try to find someone and saw Coach Day back there signing some stuff. It's just, this is the best way to do this, and it is a fun way to kick off the season. It really is. I think this is it creates a better environment.
Yeah, no question. A really good atmosphere here. People are having fun. People are excited about a 2021 college football season that will end here in Indianapolis. Not just the Big Ten season, but the national championship.
Oh wow, right.
January 10th, 2022 will be in this building. They will crown a national champion. So who knows? Could it be a Big Ten team? Hasn't been one since 2014, right? Ohio State. But Ohio State represented the Big Ten last year, came up short to that Alabama juggernaut. But we'll see this year. Can a Big Ten team topple an SEC team? Will Clemson, an ACC team, be back? Or can a dark horse emerge? Now we're still probably a year or two away from college football playoff expansion, which has been discussed.
That's my next question to talk about that, because now you talk about Indiana's and Penn State's and possibly getting, potentially getting 3 teams in from a conference, much less 2, which has been the complaint from everybody's sick and tired of watching Clemson and Ohio State and Alabama and those 3 teams at the top. It's monotonous.
Yeah, and I think there's always going to be complaints, even if you go to 12. But, the term invitational was always, because it's still a subjective thing, right? You don't get, if you're saying undefeated, UCF team, you don't get a sniff at it. Now it's like maybe you could bring in a group of 5 team and you have that David versus Goliath scenario that you have so much in college football and college basketball with the NCAA tournament, where you have a North Texas take down at Purdue, going all the way back at Cleveland State taking down in Indiana. Wouldn't it be something if you had UCF in the playoff, or one of these group of 5 teams, BYU take down someone, Zach Wilson in the college football playoff last year would have been fascinating.
Notre Dame is a team that I don't understand the love affair any longer with Notre Dame and college football. Why are they allowed to be this standalone entity that gets seemingly everything they want? We're halfway in a conference. We're not in a conference. Hey, we're different. You got to take us. That's a little aggravating. I mean, I think that they're smart on their part, but it's not. We're not comparing apples to oranges.
Yeah, the independence factor of that, the fact that they're an independent, they get to kind of choose their schedule. I mean, they do play some tough teams. They, and this year in the conference, I mean, they did beat Clemson at home, and that carried a lot of cachet. But if you really looked at them at the end of last year, they were not playing very good football at the end of last year. And again, this goes back to the 12-team college football playoff. What does it do? It rewards the team that are playing the best at the end of the season. Same thing with, like if the Tampa Bay Bucks were in that system, they would have never got a sniff at the Super Bowl because they lost twice to the New Orleans Saints during the regular season. It's just a different animal. But because the Bucks were playing their best football at the end of the season, they put it all together. Now in college football, you could see a team like Oklahoma that, maybe, had a couple of early losses, but put it together at the end of the year. They could have really challenged Alabama, maybe more so than even a school like in Ohio State or a Clemson.
And it will give a school like in Indiana an opportunity to participate in that.
Yeah.
Of course, they have to win and you have to get there. But right now, they have no chance other than beating Ohio State, winning the Big Ten, and that's a tough route. You're the ACC. Yes, you've got Clemson, but Clemson is not challenged in that entire conference. There's no one challenging them, much less on the divisional side.
Yeah.
So it's so different, and with the way that college football is changing, we don't know where it's going to go into the future. The NCAA, the difference there for basketball versus football is completely different. Football's not run by the NCAA, the championships. So I don't think people understand how all that works, but they're very different entities.
Oh yeah, no question. I mean, it's pretty much the conferences have so much power in college football, but
that's where the money's made.
That is where the money is made. But just the whole chance of not having an early loss ruin your season. I think that's the great aspect of it. People have. I guess the argument has always been you're going to dilute the college football regular season, and that every week is a playoff week in college football, and maybe it will dilute the regular season. But I do think that the postseason aspect of it, just those games in December and January are going to be so electric now, and you're going to have more of them. I think that's going to counterbalance that for sure.
I don't think you can ever dilute the regular season, especially great games.
Yeah.
I mean, great games are great games.
Yeah.
It just doesn't matter to me. And you can also see how a team is playing. If they barely lose to a great team, I'm not going to hold that against them.
Yeah.
Especially if it's on the road. There's all kind of scenarios. And like you said, football is so – basketball, you can come right back 3 days later and do this again. And football, man, you take a hit on a Saturday. First of all, you got an entire week to wait for the next game, and it's a mark that just you can't erase.
Yeah. And I think what it will do too, though, is you talk about the regular season. I think November, if you have more teams in the mix in November, those November games become more exciting too for those teams that are in the mix, as opposed to 4 or 5. If you have 12 teams battling for spots in November, it's a lot more. Those games are going to be a lot more lively than having 4 teams and a bunch of teams know that they're out of it.
Yeah, looking forward to the Big Ten season and James Franklin talked about this yesterday. The differences between the Big Ten and say the SEC. The SEC plays 8 conference games, where the Big Ten plays 9. That's a big difference when you're playing an additional conference game as opposed to a non-con game where they're scheduling Troy or whoever they're playing. He talked about college football can't get to where they're trying to get to until everything is the same. And he's exactly right. Until every conference is playing the same amount of conference games, until everything is the same, you can't compare. You mentioned Central Florida. I don't know that they're ever going to be viewed as a competitor to these upper echelon teams. And the only thing that will get them into a playoff would be a 12 team playoff with an expansion. But even then, you're going to have so many up echelon teams that are saying, well, hey, we should get in before they do.
Yeah, I think there is an equity fact to it. But my point is, you don't have to invite one to the table, 1 out of 12 as a group of 5 team. Just give them that shot just to see what they can do. I don't think that's too much to ask.
Like right now, Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Is that they would be that team, right?
They would be that team. Yeah. And they're coming
and
to
probably
Indiana.
worthy of it.
Yeah, and they're going to be coming to Indiana week 3. So, and that's going to be a huge game. That's going to be a lot of fun to watch to see how they measure up. But I think certainly, if you go back to the Hoosiers, if you can beat Iowa and you can beat Cincinnati, you're 3-0. There's going to be a lot of juice, a lot of buzz going into October.
If Indiana beats Iowa on the road, I think Cincinnati is a top 10 matchup.
Yeah,
because Cincinnati is probably going to start the season in the top 12.
Yeah,
in there, and they'll move up after you win a game or so. You move up, and But you beat Iowa on the road. And where do you think Indiana starts the season? I think it's top 20, but they should be in the top 15.
Yeah, I would say like 15 to 17, 16.
And that's just because it's Indiana. People are still holding back. Well, actually, it's because of Michael Penix.
Yeah.
People are waiting, the national media that are not in. How's Michael Penix's health? How's he going to – can he stay healthy? And they're talking about that. Indiana's season is predicated on the health of Michael Penix. Not that it's going to fall apart if he weren't there, but he has not been able to complete a season in 3 seasons that he's competed.
Well, that's going to be a big story today because he's here today. And I think the fact that he's here today is a good sign that he is probably – I don't think Indiana would have brought him if he wasn't in a good state right now. So, they're still going to have to go through fall camp and work it out. But I think that, that's going to be a huge question. 10-2 with him as a starter. There's just a different energy. Not to say that he's always played well in those 12 games, because if you remember, and even in that Maryland game, his last game, he was really struggling in the first half of that game.
That was the game where he just couldn't complete a pass.
Yeah, but there's and you remember the Penn State game, right? He really struggled for 3 quarters. But when the plays needed to be made and when it was on the table, he stepped up tremendously. And I think he's got that it factor. He's got that energy to him where he's going to be able to and just special arm strength, too, special arm talent.
I wish I would have thought to ask Coach Allen how important that play was to Indiana football against Penn State.
Yeah.
That 2-point conversion that Michael Penix scored.
Well, I asked the Penn State players, just how much does that stick with them? Like, the fact that, that, and how much did it impact their season? Because if you remember,
they took them they lose 4 straight?
Yeah, they lost 5 straight, and then they won their last 4. So it kind of like that one game really put them in a tailspin. When you look back on it, but I think that's kind of fascinating, and that'll be fascinating for the rematch too. Obviously October 2nd in Beaver Stadium will be that aspect of it.
Indiana is great in the quarterback room. They have a loaded quarterback room. Running back is an area that I think has held the offense back a little bit. They just haven't. It hasn't done anything. It hadn't hurt them, but it hadn't helped them. It just hasn't done anything. You've got a new coach. You've got Stephen Carr. Doak Walker list. He's on the Doak Walker list.
Yeah.
How many transfers come in and that's a pretty good transfer.
Oh yeah, and that's going to be fascinating to see the running back room and who emerges. Right? Is it going to be Samson James? Is it going to be Stephen Carr? Is it going to be Tim Baldwin, who I think showed flashes last year of being a really good running back?
David Ellis, where are they going to use him?
David Ellis will be I think a really good third down back again, and they still use him. If you look back at the Ohio, he's so versatile. He can do a lot of different things. We're hearing a lot about DJ Matthews and the great spring that he had, the transfer from Florida State. He'll be another guy that, they'll need to step up with the loss of WAP. Calvin Buckley, the transfer from Texas A&M. Miles Marshall, this is a big year for him, right? He's going to have to step up. So some of these guys around Freifogel are going to have to emerge during the course of the season, and there's going to be really good competition in fall camp, and we'll be there to cover it.
And you mentioned Ty Freifogel, a name I didn't think was going to come back, but he did. Big for Indiana, and I think he's going to have a little chip on his shoulder because the Ohio State wide receivers, not 1 but 2, were named yesterday to that media list, and I was like, wow. Yeah. So that'll piss you off a little bit.
Yeah, and he'll have, he and Mike just had that connection last year, that really special rapport, and building on that, I think will be critical this year. But he could face a lot of double coverage to his side of the field too. So if that happens, I think you're going to need other guys to step up, and that's where you bring in different guys that could possibly handle it. Javon Swinton is another guy that we haven't talked about too. That had a really good true freshman year. He's another guy too. They do have a lot in that receiver room, but they're going to need guys to step into more prominent roles.
Hey, we got to take a break. We're coming to you live from the field at Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days 2021. We're back with more right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Whether you're looking for a relaxing
Okay. What time is it?
10:20, and I don't know, but we originally scheduled that one CFP person for 10:40. I don't know who it is or where they are.
Okay. Who is at 10:20? Anybody?
No, I
How
didn't
much
hear from
time?
Alec.
All right. How much time? Come
You
over
have
here.
about a minute 20.
Okay. I got somebody coming on. It is, damn it. Sit
is
down,
it?
brother. How are you doing? Coach? Mark Deal.
Mark Deal, okay.
Huh? Yep. Throw on a headset. I had Tom on earlier. Marcelino.
1 minute.
How are you doing? Good. This is the setup, man. This is how to
tell Will Tiemann, he's the voice of Michigan State, who I've known for years. He's one of the nicest guys ever. And I said, I sure like this drive home.
Oh yeah, then
instead of 4 hours. And when you're on that second day scenario, where you go late to like 6 o'clock, which is really 7 o'clock.
Yep.
Back home.
And you're hungry and you're tired.
At 6 o'clock, it's still the end of rush hour in Chicago.
Oh.
So it's at least 4 hours.
Yep.
You get home by like 11:30.
All right, 15 seconds.
$100 a month, or a new 2021 Honda Accord LX front-wheel drive lease for just $270 a month. Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Sam's Family of Restaurants. Fresh, local, family. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Days, Day 2. Indiana speaking today, Tom Allen. We had Tom Allen earlier, Marcelino Ball. Now, Mark Deal joins us, former coach at Indiana, still involved. But football is your deal, man. That's where you live and love. And how exciting are you for this season coming up?
I'm very excited for the season. Jim, we were just talking. I'm very excited that this media days are here in Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Because since I worked as the director of operations and assistant director of operations, first football operations for Bill Lynch, so this is like 14th year or something that I've been doing this. I take our players to media days and the Big Ten media days. So it's usually Chicago, and when it ends up in the when they went to the 14 teams, they did it on like a 2-day thing. Well, today this is one of the years where Indiana is the late day on today, so we're done about 6 o'clock or whatever, 5:30 at night. When I was in Chicago, that makes I lose an hour driving back, and I'm getting home at 11:30. So I'm real happy that I'm going to be home about 7 tonight.
Yeah, I wasn't even looking at it from that standpoint, but absolutely it is.
Very selfish. I'm being totally
But, man,
selfish.
when you remind me of it, I'm like, oh, that is going to be very nice tonight.
Very selfish. But no, I'm excited.
Minus the traffic going through Martinsville, it's still going to be better.
Oh, good. Just trying to get out of Chicago at that
Yeah,
time.
I hear that's like driving in and out.
Trying to get on the Dan Ryan, it's just a mess. But
we've had Coach Allen on today already, Marcelino Ball with us. There's a lot of excitement heading into this season, and with good reason. Indiana is being talked about as a team that's in the top 3 of the Big Ten East, and that's over Michigan. That's never happened with the consistency and the seriousness that we're looking at this team. I mean, this is the team that can truly do the things that is being talked about.
Yeah, we've stepped up. There's no doubt it's been a gradual process, and I think we've made some strides. Tom talked about breakthrough. I think certainly the win at Nebraska when it happened in 2019 was the breakthrough win to beat a program like Nebraska.
The most fired up I've ever seen Tom Allen after a game.
You're beating a program. You're not just beating a team. And we have the utmost respect for Nebraska for what they've done for 100 years, and to do that finally. And I know because when I played for Coach Corso in the 70s, we had the
very fortunate occurrence of playing Nebraska every year in non-conference, which was quite fun. And that was Tom Osborne's Nebraska.
In the late 70s, when they were rolling, it was a machine.
They won the Big 8 in 1978, the best football team I ever played against. And they beat Oklahoma and went to the Orange Bowl and everything. But to beat a program like that was huge for us. And then the 8-win season, which hadn't been done, and January 1st bowl game, which, when the Gator Bowl, only the third time ever. And then just built that into last year. And then, we had beaten Penn State once before, but to knock off a 7th-ranked team in the country was great. And, in doing so during the year, we beat 3 ranked teams, which hadn't happened since 1945. And it just kept building. And we've got a bunch of guys on our team that wanted to be at Indiana. They love being at Indiana, and they play hard for it. And that's the whole key.
The only bad thing is you got to do it again.
Oh yeah, no doubt. No doubt.
This year,
our guys know that. They know that the expectation level is higher. It's raised. You start the season at Kinnick. That's not easy because that's another program we totally respect completely. Kirk Ferentz is a friend of mine, and he's as good a coach as there is. I told him once, we've known each other since I was an assistant at Kansas State, and he was assistant at Iowa back in the mid-'80s. So it's been a long time that we've known each other. And I told him before we played them in 15, I think they were 9-0. They were ranked in the top 5 in the country. They're undefeated. I told him in all seriousness, I said, you're the Bill Mallory of Iowa. I said, all you do is win. All you do is go to a bowl game every year. You've been to the Rose, you won the Big Ten 3 times. You've been to the Rose Bowl. I said, and it's never good enough for the Iowa fans. I said, I don't get it. I said, you're just you're a terrific football coach, and you know what you're going to get. I mean, they just play, they play the solid old school Bill Mallory football. And I told him that. He said, that's a great compliment that you give me, because he certainly respects Coach Mallory and all that he did.
That's very similar to what James Franklin said yesterday about Iowa. That the very same words. You know what you're going to get.
Absolutely.
You know who they are.
They know who they are,
and you still have to stop it.
And you can't. And you know what they're going to do defensively, and they're. They are who they are, and we were similar to that way. And I coached for Coach Mallory, and we knew what we were, and we were tailback U with Anthony and Vaughn and Alex Smith and Jermaine Chaney and those kind of players. But it was you knew what you're going to get, and they don't vary from a formula. Wisconsin's the same way. Wisconsin was the same way. Barry Alvarez and then Bielema and they've never stopped that. And you got to do what you got to do.
And now you got Brett over at Illinois.
Yeah.
It's in a different division, and Illinois is not on the schedule very often, but that's going to change things over there.
No doubt. And that's the interesting thing. We had a great event last night where we had over 100 football alumni that we just did it.
Here is in Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis. We did it. We decided to do it in a week. And because of COVID restrictions and different things, and we got the okay from the university to go ahead and do it, and we put it together in a week. We had 105 sign up. We had well over 100 because a bunch of guys just came, and Coach Allen was there, and we had our 4 guys that are here, Marcelino and Micah and Ty and
Michael
and Michael. But it was a great event, and players from all eras. We had players who played in the 50s, 60s, all the way on. John Eisenbarger was there.
Wow.
And, just a terrific event, and just a lot of spirit with that. And
how much pride is there with those guys and what's going on right now on that
tremendous
field?
Amount of pride. From what's going on is good, but, I am a football alum. But my job title is Assistant Athletic Director for Alumni Relations. So I communicate with those guys all the time. And our football alumni, no matter who they played for, and I saw Coach DiNardo over there. We had a bunch of Coach DiNardo's guys over there. And I hope to talk to Coach DiNardo a little bit. But our guys have a lot of pride in playing football at Indiana. It's we don't have all the Big Ten championships Ohio State has, and all the national championships and things that they have. but our guys have a lot of pride in being Indiana football players, and they take great pride in what we do, and they're invested. They are totally invested in what we're doing.
Well, the truth of the matter, it was harder to be an Indiana football player because you had to play Michigan, you had to play Ohio State, you had to play these great teams and try to compete with them, knowing that you don't have everything that they have. But yet we saw many times where they did compete with them, didn't always win, but that started to change. You just ran off a list a minute ago of the things that have happened in the last year or so that haven't happened some since the 40s. And that can continue this year. I think Indiana wins at Michigan this year. That's just a prediction. Doesn't mean jack.
I was there the last time we did. My brother was playing.
What were you, 12?
10.
Oh, man, I was right. I was close.
I was 10,
Damn.
1967.
Oh, my God, are you kidding me?
And John Eisenbarger scored with a minute to go to win 27-20. And that was the fifth win of the year and road to the Rose Bowl that they had.
Well, I was at the game that they last time they beat them at home before last year.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting when we do that because every year when we got on the plane and gone there, there seems to be less and less, and I think that for the last few years, I'm the only one in that building that has been there. When we beat Michigan the last time. Kit Klingelhofer was for a while when Kit was still working for us, but he's retired now. So, I'm the only one that was there, be it as a 10-year-old.
Kit was there?
Yeah, Kit was.
That's right. I forgot. He was one of my professors in school.
Kit was working SID as a student assistant in the SID office, for Tom Miller.
Wow.
During that time.
One of my favorite stories of all time. I remember talking to you about Randall L. When you recruited Randall L.
Yeah.
But it wasn't about Randall L. Talk about who was maybe one of the most dynamic quarterbacks you have ever seen. Didn't play at Indiana. For those of you at home, if you don't know, I'm sure you already know.
Iverson. Yeah, Allen Iverson, who reminded me, who Antoine reminded me of AI. Because I was coaching at Virginia Military Institute. We were running the Wishbone. He's a Wishbone quarterback down there in Hampton. And fabulous and fearless and courageous. Played football just like he played basketball.
And he's not that bad. Is he 6 foot tall?
He's maybe 6'1", but which in the NBA is might as well be 5'4",
right?
Because of all the giant. When they were I think they played the Lakers in the finals, the one year that they got the finals with Philadelphia, and just fearless, and you got you're going the hole, and you got Shaq there, that's a mismatch, Shaq's a mismatch with anybody.
But I wonder how many people have no idea that he was a great quarterback,
defensive back, punt returner, just a fierce competitor. And Antoine, when I first saw Antoine, that's guys remind you of certain guys. And, of course, the dual sport thing. And Antoine wasn't the basketball player AI was, but he was a great basketball player at Thornton. And good enough. And Thornton had very good players there. Ron Eli went to Fresno with Tark, and another went to Bowling Green. I can't think of his name. Napoleon Harris played football and basketball at Northwestern, ended up playing with the Raiders. And I saw them play a lot of times, recruiting Antoine. They were really good. Really, really good team, and our people had watched them. Ron Felling and Dan Dockich, and had watched them play, and it was Dan and I. This is a true story. We'd go to mass on Sunday mornings, and we'd be sitting there at St. Paul's Church, and I knew I was trying to recruit Antoine, and Dan had leaned over to me and he says, "Pray for Randall L." Our prayers were answered.
The season's is almost upon us. I can't wait. Fall camp starts in a week. We're going to be, just heard from Jeff that he's planning on allowing us out to practice again, being able to do that. Hadn't happened in 2 years. Last year, media was allowed to go stand outside the fence and look in like we were stalking. But it's just being able to talk to people face to face, so different. The fans in the stands, Indiana, their home games, how important to getting those fans and keeping them in the stands are that going to be for this season?
Well, it's interesting.
And what can they do to get them in there besides win?
We got to win. You got to win. That's the magic potion. And I made that statement last night to the Teal alumni, and we hadn't been in, and I welcomed everybody, and I said it's been 19 months since we've been together as an IU football family, me and the alumni, as a group, because, the night before the Gator Bowl in Jacksonville, we had a football-only alumni event for just our football alumni, where we just gathered like we did last night. And we probably had 200 people at that. I mean, it was packed. And this was the first one we had since then. And it was, I said, it's been 19 months since we've been together. I said, and as fun as it was, and we didn't, our team, Tom talks all the time, and he probably told you, he talks about earmuffs and blinders. And we were earmuffs and blinders.
Both of them.
When we were earmuffs and blinders all year.
I've heard that from 3 different people today.
So when we were in Ohio Stadium and there were no fans, they didn't, because of their COVID restrictions. I'm not complaining about Ohio State, and Wisconsin was the same way. It doesn't, everybody had to do what they had to do. I think everybody did a wonderful job, commissioner on down, and the presidents, for us to have a football season last year. I think was one of the greatest things ever. That's the winner of last year. But when we're in Ohio Stadium, or we're in Michigan State, or we're at Wisconsin, it was earmuffs and blinders. Our guys truly didn't notice there weren't any fans there, because they were so invested and so into what was happening. And I told the alumni that last night. I said, as great as it was to beat Michigan at home, and our guys celebrated, and they'll remember that forever. It would have been nicer to have 50,000 people there to celebrate with it, but that's never going to take that away. That moment, because that we all shared from that. But to answer your question, it'll be amazing. I can't wait until, I can't. Kinnick is one of my. I played at Kinnick 3 times.
Never been to that stadium. Looking forward to going there.
It's wonderful. In fact, won there 4 years in a row. Not there, but won 3 years in a row.
Wow,
there, 3 out of 4 years. So I love playing in Kinnick. The fans are great. They're right on top of you. It's one of the best stadiums in the Big Ten.
And it's like Nebraska. The people they're great football fans. They love football, and it's just a great environment. That's the one thing when I went to the Nebraska game. I've been to Notre Dame. They're different places. They care about the game. They're not rude. It's a great environment.
And this is pre-Hayden Fry, 76, 77, and they were great. I mean, they were 4-7, that kind of team. They were, they weren't what they've been. They were still filled. I mean, it was still filled, and they are great fans. And everybody talks about the big house. Everybody talks about the horseshoe. Everybody talks about Penn State, but the stadiums that are really I love as much as any are Wisconsin, East Lansing, and Kinnick. I mean, I love playing there.
All packed.
All packed. And it's great, and I can't wait to be there. And I can't wait to come to Memorial Stadium on September 11th. I think we're going to have a hell of a crowd.
That's going to be fun.
I think you're going to have
I'm looking forward to going to Iowa. I'm looking forward to waving at the children in the hospital. That's
a new tradition that God bless Coach Ferentz and everything he's done to give
that's got to be
to
me. I've said it many times. That is the great. It's got to be the greatest tradition in college athletics. Maybe all sports.
I'll probably cry.
I'm going. Half of the reason I am going to this game, I don't go to as many road games now,
is to wave to the kids.
Is to participate in that.
Yeah.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it right now. It's crazy.
It's amazing. It's really amazing.
It's nuts that something like that can be so impactful for people that are not even involved with it. But it's a great tradition
for those kids.
It is awesome. But man, looking forward to it. I can't thank you enough, man. Looking forward to this. It is so great to be out here again. And looking forward to this season. Mark, Thank you, brother.
We're ready to roll. Thanks.
We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat from Lucas Oil Stadium right after this.
We'll be right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington.
Hey, Hoosier fans, whether you're looking for a new
Hi, Susan. How are we?
You got 1
Hello?
minute.
Okay.
1 minute.
Susan is joining us. You can
Perfect.
just sit there. I thought she was giving her. I was like, she doesn't look like 171 pounds, man. What are you talking about?
I hope not.
No.
Let's see. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can't.
Yes,
you
sir.
can't hear the producer, but she can hear
She's
you.
good.
Where are you from?
I'm from Mooresville, Indiana. I went to IU in Bloomington.
No kidding.
No kidding. Truth. Grew up
Perfect.
on a
Oh,
farm
so they have a different committee each year?
for the game.
Yeah.
So they do. So what I am is
We're not on yet.
That's okay. I'm in charge of the host committee for Indianapolis, so only for this January's weekend. And then, as you go to Miami or LA or Houston, they have their own
Right.
host committee, so they have a
Right.
local person in charge.
It's gotta be
to-
pretty cool.
Seconds, Jim.
Yeah, it's a great
Farm
job.
Line
I've really
86th
enjoyed
Street
it.
in Indy have a
I've done a
long
ton
list
of
of craft
basketball,
beers and
so-
all of the right foods to go with.
I've done a ton
Plan
of
a day on
basketball.
the links at Eagle
So,
Point in Bloomington,
now
then
doing
stay for
football
dinner
is
at
kind of
Sam's
fun.
Did I give you my
Clubhouse.
card yet?
Sam's
No, I
Restaurants,
have it.
professionals in the art of food and drink.
Thank you so
This
much. I'll
segment
email
is
you
brought
back.
to you
Thank
by
you.
Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Now back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios for more Indiana Sports Beat Radio with Jim Coyle, presented by Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Here's Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Lucas Oil Stadium here in Indianapolis on day 2 and the final day of the Big Ten Media Days for football, as we're back live action, sitting next to people and talking to them. But now I'm joined by Susan Ballman, who is in charge of the host committee for the college football playoffs, which is awesome. I've been talking about starting and ending the season here for the Big Ten, but college football is going to end the season here, which is tremendous. Indianapolis is, Indiana for that matter, becoming more and more of a football-oriented state, not than basketball, but as basketball. We've been so much known for basketball for so long, but the Colts have really started that a long time ago with Peyton Manning right here in this building. And, the others are Notre Dame, Purdue, Indiana now joining those ranks. But that's wild to talk about football with the state of Indiana.
I know we're totally excited to bring the national championship here. And I think for the first time, having the actual national championship after the Big Ten football championship is just a great opportunity for all these football fans to get together and basically celebrate for a month, right? They can come in December for the Big Ten conference game and we'll roll right into the national championship.
Yeah, what other cities can talk about or brag about having multiple NCAA championships, Big Ten championships, the college football championship? Indiana is becoming the hub of sports.
I think it's an awesome place to come for an event because we're drivable by most of the country. And once you get here, you can park that car, you can walk around, and you can have all the fun in the downtown area. I know for the national championship, we're really looking forward to basically creating a football festival for the whole entire weekend. And it's something that whether you have a ticket to the game or not, there's a lot of great free fan activities, things for people to come downtown and do.
Looking forward to that. How did you get involved with this? You're a local. Each committee, each year, they have a different committee, obviously, because you got to plan. How far in advance do you have to plan?
So we did the bid and received the award for the event back in the fall of 2017. So we've been working on the event since then, but we activated a local host committee over the last 2 years. We have over 400 people working on this, professional leaders in the community that are volunteering. They're working on it every week, trying to make for a great weekend. I got involved back at the time of the bid and helped put that together with the city partners. And so we've been working hard on it ever since 2017.
You're an IU grad from Mooresville, just southwest of Indianapolis.
Yeah, grew up in Mooresville, Indiana, went to Mooresville High School, did my college work at IU in Bloomington, which was awesome. Love a little Southern Indiana everything.
See, you guys call Bloomington Southern Indiana. I'm from Southern Indiana. I
know
don't
you
call
are.
Bloomington Southern Indiana.
It's the start.
Yeah, there you go. It's the northern tip of Southern Indiana. I'll take that.
That's right. IU was great. Enjoyed my time there. Came back to work downtown Indianapolis, and I haven't had any reason to leave since then. It's a wonderful place to be.
Could you have imagined then that doing what you're doing for this, the college football playoffs, Well, it wasn't even around when either of us were in college, I'm going to assume, but that's a cool thing, period, for anybody. I wish you were my mom. It's like, man, my mom's working on the college football playoff committee.
Well, I've never thought about it that way, but yes, the event has only happened 7 times before. So we'll host it in its 8th year. Gives us a great opportunity to grow the things that are happening organically every year with the event and really blow it out for Indianapolis. We know the fans around the state are going to roll in and really enjoy the atmosphere. We are going to have people in from out of state, all the alumni, the teams. The Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl play into the national championship this year. So we just can't wait to figure out who those teams are and welcome them into town.
Is there a city that does what Indianapolis does? I mean, let's talk about the Indianapolis 500, basketball, all the football things we're talking about now. There's things that I'm not even mentioning that I can't even think of that I know happen in this city sports-wise. I cannot think of another city that does what Indianapolis does regularly and routinely and greatly.
It's a great sports town. And honestly, the feedback we get from a lot of these Big Ten teams that are here for Media Day this week, they love it because it's easy to get here. Once they get here, they can walk around. There's great restaurants. There's great attractions. And I feel like it's one of those cities, since it's not huge, you can actually see everybody. So it's a great, who did I see today? Who was eating in the restaurant next to me? What player did I see? And I think people really love that. For the national championship, we actually have a free media day, which is a real insider's view. ESPN comes in. It's everything you see for game day, right? Roll up to game day. People can bring their families. They can listen to the interviews with the athletic directors, the coaches, and the athletes. They get a free radio when they leave and basically can cheer on their teams from the get-go.
Now, where is that going to take place?
That's going to take place in the convention center here, right along with the Fan Fest. And so they have a wonderful family-oriented Fan Fest for people to come to that will happen Saturday, Sunday, and Monday of championship weekend.
So let's talk about everything that's going to go on with that from the start, because I know when you have a gigantic event like that, it starts before, and there are multiple events that lead up to it. What's the first thing that you guys have set up for the college football playoffs?
Yeah, the fan events are awesome. So on Saturday morning is this media day that I just mentioned. The Fan Fest, the Fan Central will happen all 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. There's a 5K that people can run or walk in.
I'll pass on that.
You can walk in it. It'll be great. You don't know who's going to be walking beside you. You can drive behind. You'll be the pickup bus. We have that. We have free concerts Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Who's in the concert?
We can't tell yet.
We're
out in November, so we'll have to talk again. I'll tell you who it is in November. So that's going to be awesome. We're going to have a lot of other fan activities. And then on game day, Fan Central will be rolling. And we also have a big tailgate on our championship campus, which is basically our whole downtown. Where
will it, is there a center point?
Yeah, so Monument Circle is really going to be our collection point. Nobody's going to want to miss that. In addition to the concerts, we're going to have a lot of other special entertainment, which I can't tell today, but it's really something to look forward to.
No breaking news here today. Man.
I know. I'm breaking the news to break the news. So anyway, we'll get back together on that. It's going to be really exciting. We're also setting off for a tailgate tour, which is going to go all over the state of Indiana at high school football games on Friday nights.
Really?
So it could be coming to a town near you. We're getting ready to announce those cities. So we're going to as many high school games as we can on Friday nights.
Is that just in Indiana?
Uh-huh. Yep.
That's going to be really cool. What are they going to do at those games?
We're going to honor teachers, which is our legacy program. So we know how much teachers do for the kids of today and our parents after last year. We really appreciate those teachers. So we're going to recognize them, give away free things to teachers, really support them, and we're going to promote our fan events. So it's going to be really fun.
That's a big boost for high school football in the state of Indiana, which is really getting, again, the Colts. I hate to keep going back to the Colts, but it started there, it seems like, and it has built a groundswell because football in this state, high school has gotten better. Players have gotten much more recognition than you have these teams. Of course, you've always had Notre Dame, but then you have an Indiana that has really risen to national prominence with a Tom Allen. That's just great for the state, I think, period.
Yeah, it's super inspirational. I think, when you see the top level, you see the Indianapolis Colts and kids watch that, they're like, I want to do that. I want to be great at my sport. So we're here to help with that. And we're also working with USA Football, who's headquartered here in town, to carry the message that they need community football coaches and officials. So that's a message we're going to carry out on that tailgate tour, too.
Sports? I don't even know what all's here.
USA Gymnastics is here. We got Olympic sports. We've got every level. The IHSAA is headquartered here in Indianapolis. It's a great sports town, like we were saying. You cannot imagine the image that Indianapolis has garnered just based on these relationships.
So after this college football playoff ends, what do y'all do next? Do you bid on another one?
I hope that we're invited to do that. The college football office out of Irving, Texas, they are responsible for the conduct of the event.
Why are they not in Indianapolis?
I know. Maybe they'll join us after this. We'll have to ask. But they'll decide who gets to bid, and hopefully we'll get another invitation to do that. And
What
we'll
is
get back
the
in the
soonest
game.
you could get that?
It would be they've got Los Angeles next, then Houston, and then they're going to do a bid for the next 2 years, and then it would be the bid after that. So it would be 5 years out.
Looking forward to that. What are you looking forward to as you get closer? Because you said you've been working on this since 2017. As we get what are we, 4 or 5 months, 6 months away?
171 days.
It sounds like a long time, but it's not.
It flies
I know
by
that.
every day.
Not only does it fly by, and the things that have to be done, you get closer and closer, and then the big state, the lights go on the big stage. Man, but so what? As you get closer to what are you doing now? What do you have to do? What are your responsibilities?
Yeah, we're spending probably the predominance of our time working on these fan events and all the special things that I can't tell you about. So we're working hard on that so that we can announce it. I think I'm most excited about.
You're going to come back and announce it here with me, right?
100%. We got to get that done. We got to do that deal. We're excited about bringing the fans back downtown. Honestly, people have had such a hard time with COVID. We hope things continue to be well with people and that they're able to come and feel comfortable coming. Right now, we're planning for a 100% capacity event if things stay well. And we want to see this be a big part of Indianapolis remaining like a focal point for our city and state and bring the fans back town and give them something great to celebrate.
And I don't want to be biased, but Indianapolis I think it's the perfect size. It's a larger city, but it's not a big. It's not Houston.
Yeah, there's enough things to do.
You
There's
can't
great
go to
places
Houston
eat.
and I don't think you can have. Indianapolis is big enough, but not too big to where you can do just that. You can have a central area.
Indy's built for this. It really is in the DNA of this city, and our forefathers who planned the city out, putting the stadium downtown and providing space for hotels and all these amenities. I mean, it's so smart. And everybody's continued to work together organizationally to make this a great place to do an event. We have great cooperation from the city and state government, which is not true everywhere. We have lots of great partner organizations like Visit Indy, Downtown Indy, Indiana Sports Corp that all come together along with IHSAA, the Colts, the Pacers. Our donor family in this town make it possible to have underwriting to be able to do all these things. And so it's an amazing place to live and work. And honestly, I'm so proud to not only live here, but to be able to show off the national championship, because like you say, it's not going to be the same in every city. And that's part of the fun for people who travel. But I think they're going to experience something they've never had on this, the 8th year of the national championship in Indianapolis. And they're going to have a different kind of fun than they've ever been able to have. So we're thrilled to be a part of like making it a unique experience. That's very Indy, that's important.
Were you involved in sports before? What was your involvement in sports before this?
Yeah, so I've been in sports since I graduated from Indiana University. I didn't intend this to be my career. I didn't even know it was a career. And my first job was with the 1991 World Gymnastics Championship. It took place in the RCA Dome.
Let's start with a world title.
I mean, it was awesome. I've done, I think, 7 World Championship events, a lot of Olympic trials, Big Ten Conference, NCAA championships. I love my job. Not just because it's sports. A lot of people love sports, but you can watch sports, right? I love it because it brings the different partner organizations together and it really shows off our city and state and makes an impact, bringing in outside visitors where we leave a great impression on people and they come back. It's helped build the city. And I just feel like lucky to be a little tiny part of something that's bigger and good for so many people in the community. So it's been a great job. I've been lucky to be able to stay here and do it.
And not exactly a tiny part of it. It's a big part, but it's just got to be an amazing for you to sit back and as a sports fan, I know if I look at the college football playoff and to know if I was involved at the level you are, I would be beaming.
What's exciting? I never thought I would have the opportunity, honestly. So it is super fun. I've been honored to work on the men's Final Fours, the women's Final Fours, all these events. I love Olympic trials, and now we're right in the middle of the Olympics. So I have a special place in my heart for that. But honestly, you see how the city's grown and how it prospers and how people want to live downtown or people move to Indiana and they love Indiana. And just thinking that you are a little part of that is really special. And it makes it especially, satisfying, I guess, to live here and see the growth and think you've had something to do that has a positive impact. And we also do a lot of good things outside of sports. This time it's for teachers. A lot of times it's for athletes or students. And being able to do something good in the community at the same time as you're providing an entertainment is really a special thing.
What do you have to do for the next 170 days?
I got a lot of contracts to do. I got a lot of plans to make. We got a lot of people to get involved. We got volunteers. We're probably going to have 2,000 volunteers. So we'll do a volunteer call out.
So you have yet to do that.
Yeah.
How do you go about that? How can people volunteer if they want to be a part of it?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if people want to volunteer, they can jump on the indianasportscorp.com website. There's a volunteer page. They can put in their name and their email, and we'll send them out the information when we're ready. I think we already have over 1,700 people on a list saying, hey, we're interested. So once we know what those jobs are, we'll post them and people can sign up. It'll be awesome.
1,700 of 2,000 already filled. So you're well on your way. You'll probably have more than you could use.
And that's Indiana right there. That's Hoosier Hospitality, and we love it.
And being a part of that, that makes it fun. But I think everyone loves being a part of those, something new and different that you don't expect. Like I said, you didn't expect that to be where you're involved in sports more than I am, maybe. And it's amazing that you get, well, definitely more varied things. It's amazing to hear the things that you've been able to do. The experiences, that's got to be cool. But what that brings to you, what you're able to do for this to make this event so much better, has got to, you've been building for this.
It is a great learning experience every time. I will say, like, having been involved with it all these years, every sport is really different. And I think that's important to really listen to the sport, the field of play side of things. How do you make that competition perfect for those athletes? That's our job, is to set the stage so they can perform their best and they can win. And so I think whether it's, I've done everything from synchronized swimming to basketball to fencing, I mean, all over the board. And every sport is different. And I think that's a really interesting part of the job.
I really want to know who created synchronized swimming.
It's been around for a really long time.
I know. It's been around since Caddyshack. It's been around since Caddyshack.
I can't imagine swimming well enough to do what they do in the water. It is pretty amazing.
It is. It is. Well, the synchronicity is what's crazy, but I never thought that synchronized swimming would be a topic that I'd be talking about. Right
I know. Hey, I'm glad we could bring that up for you today. Looking forward to surfing and skateboarding in the Olympics this year too. That'll be awesome.
I saw that. I'm like, are you kidding me? They don't have skateboarders in Belarus or Poland or
maybe they do. We're gonna find out, aren't we?
Well, they should send the Polish swimmers. They sent Polish swimmers back home. They brought too many, so maybe they should put them on the skateboard team.
There you go. Accident waiting to happen.
Exactly. Well, man, this is perfect. We filled the show. We're done. We're out of time. I cannot thank you enough for joining me. I'm looking forward to having you back on, though, to get all of the information, but to keep up as the season goes along. I'd love to have you back on and check in where I'll be as the college football playoff builds, as the season progresses, and the advent of college expansion. Something we can talk about later, but that plays into that because you have so many more teams that are vying to get into that. Which
maybe next time we host, maybe we'll get to host a couple of games instead of just one. That'd be awesome.
There you go.
We're going to try to stay in it.
I love it. Susan, thank you for joining us, and thank you guys. I can't thank Tom Allen enough, Marcelino Ball, Mark Deal, Kevin Brockway, and of course Susan. But most importantly, thanks to you guys. Without you, we've got nothing to do. But thank you so much. Thank you for joining us here at Big Ten Media Days for the last 2 days. Back on Monday at back at the Eagle Point Studios. But until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.